One of the most common applications in sentiment analysis is to track users on social media by extracting tweets, for example, from Twitter, analyzing the sentiments of the tweets, and understanding the behavior of the users and the authors. In today's demo, we will create a social media monitoring app using Microsoft Azure services. Microsoft Azure is a cloud computing platform provided by Microsoft. Microsoft Azure provides you with a whole bunch of services that are pre-built and pre-trained and ready to use in order to build AI applications within a few minutes. In this demo, we will create a social media monitoring app that aims to first detect tweets about a specific subject. It could be the hashtag COVID or Northumbria Uni or any specific keyword that you want to search for. The application will also analyze the sentiment of the tweets. It will extract the key phrases from the tweet and, for example, store the positive tweets in a SQL database and send a notification email to the responsible entities, for example, the customer service with the negative tweets. Let's have a look at the flow chart for the social media monitoring app. So this is an illustration of the Logic App design that we will be creating. We will use the Logic App service within Microsoft Azure, which is just a cloud-based service that automates the execution of your business process. In our business process implemented by this Logic app, we will start with extracting tweets related to the specific subject or topic. Then we will detect the sentiment of the tweets, and depending on the sentiment score, we will take a corresponding or an appropriate action. If the sentiment score of the tweet is positive, then we will store this tweet in a table within our database. And if the sentiment score of the tweet is negative, then we will send a notification email to the customer service. And obviously, we can adopt any other action that is the most more suitable for our business process. So in order to create the Logic App service, you need to have or to create an Azure for Students account for free. So let's have a look at how we can create this Azure for Students account. So open a new tab in your browser and just you can type Azure for Student account. I will share the link with you. You can just click on the link and you will be redirected to this page. In this page, you can just click on Start Free, just follow the instructions, and it will only take 1 minute to create your free Azure for Student account, and you will get with it $100 credit and free developer tools, and you will not need any credit card or debit card to create the account. So once you've created your Azure for Students account, open a new tab in your browser, and I will also share the link with you, and open the Azure portal. And of course, you will be asked to sign in using your email address. And by the way, you have to use your university email address or your professional address to create the Azure for Students account. You will use the same email to sign in to the Azure portal. So what we want to do in this Microsoft Azure portal is that we want to create a Logic app. So I will go ahead and click on Create a Resource. A resource is a service here that is pre-built and pre-trained for me, ready to use, and I want to use a Logic app. So I would just in the marketplace type Logic app. I will select this one. Just remember that, or just focus on the icon, and you have to choose this icon and not another one. Click on Create. And here I am in the form of creating a Logic app. So I have to fill out this form, and for this I have to choose the subscription. The subscription or the Azure subscription that you will get within your Azure for Students account is an Azure for Students subscription. And it's just a set of permissions and services that you can use within your or use in your account. Then I have to create what we call a resource group. This is just a logical container I will store all my resources and services, including the Logic app, the SQL database, and any service that I will be using within Microsoft Azure. So I will just go ahead and click on Create New. I will give it a name, for example, resource group test, and hit OK. Perfect. Then I will give a name to my Logic app. And since this is implementing the Twitter monitoring application, I will name it Twitter app, for example. And I am in the public cloud now, so I will just mention or select the region where I want to store my resource group, which is again the container containing all of my resources and services. Perfect, I would just click on Review plus Create. And then Create. Perfect. So now my Logic app service is created. I would just click on Go to Resource. And I am now redirected to the Logic Apps Designer where I can design and implement my business process. And since I want to implement it from scratch, I will go ahead in the templates and choose a blank Logic app. Great. So in here, I want to start with searching for the tweets related to a specific topic. Then I want to create a connection between my Logic app and Twitter. So I'll just go ahead and click on Twitter. And what I want to do is I want to create a trigger that will initiate all the sequence of actions to take. So when a new tweet is posted is my trigger. And in order to create or to enable this trigger, I have to create a connection between my Logic app and the Twitter API. So I just give it a name, Twitter connection, for example, and sign in. Now I am redirected to the Twitter API page. I have to use my credentials, which are the email address for my Twitter account and the password. Perfect. And I will click on Authorize the app to authorize the connection between the Twitter API and my Logic app. And here I am in the trigger, which is when a new tweet is posted. So I want to specify the terms that I need to search for the tweets and to be able to extract them. So for me, I will use hashtag Northumbria Uni. So whenever there is a new tweet posted using hashtag Northumbria, I will receive it and my Logic app will extract it. So here, how often do I want to check for items? It could be every 3 minutes, every 3 hours. I would say every 3 hours. And anyway, I can stop my Logic app. I can stop it from working and from searching the tweets. Okay? So after creating the connection between my Logic app and the Twitter API, I will go ahead and create a new step. The next step is that I want to analyze the sentiments. Is there any service or algorithm that I can use, which is pre-built, that I can use to analyze the sentiments, for example? The question is yes. The Text Analytics Cognitive Service or cloud-based service within Microsoft Azure is a pre-trained and a pre-built model, predictive model, that you can use to detect the language of a text to analyze the sentiments to extract key phrases and to recognize named entities such as quantities or the name of cities, proper names, etc. So I will go back to the home, to the portal, to the Azure portal. I will just open from here a new tab. Okay, I will sign in using my email address. Perfect. And now I am again redirected to the Azure portal. And here I will create a new resource, which is a cognitive service. And as I mentioned earlier, a cognitive service is a cloud-based service which is a pre-built and a pre-trained model that is ready to use. So I will go ahead and create and click on cognitive service. And then I will just click on create cognitive service. And what I want to create here is the text analytics. The text analytics cognitive service. And this is the one I'm looking for. I will just go ahead and select it, click on it, and again, click on create. Perfect. So now I have to fill out the form. My subscription is always the Azure for Students subscription, and the resource group I will be using the same one that I've just created, and now it will be containing both the Logic app and the Text Analytics Cognitive Service. Again, I will choose the same region, which is the UK South. I will give my cognitive service a name. I will just name it Text Analytics for Twitter, my Twitter app, for example. And for the pricing tier, I will go for the free one, which is the F0. I will go ahead and click on Review plus Create, and then Create. Perfect. Okay. So it might take a few seconds to, yeah, that was very fast. Thank you, Internet. And I would just click on Go to Resource. And here I am in my Text Analytics Cognitive Service. So I will go back to the Logic app. So in my Logic app, what I've done so far is that I created a trigger. When a new tweet is posted, I want to extract it. Now I want to analyze the sentiment in this tweet using the Text Analytics Cognitive Service. So I need to create a connection between my Logic app design and the Text Analytics Cognitive Service. So I need the credentials to have access to this text analytics cognitive service. The credentials are just the key and an endpoint, and I can get them from my cognitive service. Perfect, so I will just select the keys and endpoint within my text analytics cognitive service. I will copy the key and go back to my Logic app, and I will select text analytics. And more specifically, what I want to do within this or with this text analytics cognitive service is that I want to analyze or detect the sentiment. So I will just go ahead and select detect sentiment. And in this form, I will create a connection. I will call it text analytics connection. I will provide the key that I've just copied. I will just paste it in here. And I will go back to the Text Analytics Cognitive Service and again, copy the endpoint, go back to the Logic app and paste the endpoint. Create and hit create the connection. And here we go. We have a connection between my Logic app design and the function which is the sentiment detection function within the Text Analytics Cognitive Service. So this function needs input. I need to give it or to provide it with the tweet text, and the tweet ID. I will click on Add New Parameter, select Documents, which is my tweet, go back to Add New Parameter, and the Documents ID, I need the ID tweet. I can get it from what we call the dynamic content. I would just type ID and select the tweet ID. Similarly, for the document text, I will type text and select the tweet text. The language is English, and we're all done. Perfect. So far we have our trigger and we have our sentiment detection function with the two important inputs. Now let's create a new step. I want to, for example, extract key phrases from the tweets. So I will again select the text analytics, and this time I want to extract key phrases, the most relevant information or phrases in my tweet. Similarly, I have to provide my function, which is the key phrases detection or extraction function, with inputs. The input is first the ID of the tweet, and the second input is the text of the tweet. Okay, perfect, from the dynamic content. So it is called the dynamic content because all the values of these attributes or parameters will change with the tweet. Whenever we have a new tweet, we will have new values and new information related to the tweet, which is just logical. Next step, I want to test or to put a condition on the sentiment score. And for example, if the sentiment score is positive, I want to send a notification email to myself or to a specific person. So what I will do is that I want to create a conditional statement, a sort of control on my sentiment score, and more specifically, it will be a condition. So I will just select a condition. My condition is related to the sentiment score, and I can get the sentiment score from the dynamic content. So I will just type again in the dynamic content score and select it. Okay, so my condition will be if the sentiment score is greater than or equal 0.5, then which means that the sentiment is positive, because within this text analytics API, the sentiment is positive if it's beyond or great, or the sentiment score is greater than or equal 0.5, and if it's less than 0.5, then it will be negative. So the sentiment score is between 0 and 1. So this is the condition that I've created. Now, if the condition is true, as you can see here, I will add an action. My action is that I want to send a notification email. I'll just click on action, and in order to send an email, I have to sign in to the Office 365 Outlook. So I will select it. And what I want to do in this or with this connector is I want to send an email. Perfect, so I'll just go ahead and select send an email. So sign in to create a connection to Office 365 Outlook. So we have already created two connections. The first one was with the Twitter API, and the second one was with the text analytics. And now the third one is with the Office 365 Outlook. So those three, which are the Twitter API, the text analytics API or cognitive service, and the Office 365 Outlook are called connectors. I will sign in using my email address. Perfect. So now the connection is created. Now I can go ahead and prepare my email. So I will send an email to myself. And in the subject, for example, I can write tweet about Northumbria Uni, or let's say a positive tweet. Or just tweet, okay, a positive tweet or a tweet about Northumbria Uni with a sentiment score of with a sentiment score of, and I will go ahead and get the sentiment score from the dynamic content. In the body of the email, I will just write hi there. There is a tweet posted by someone, and who is this someone? Let's get the name of the author or the user. Name, perfect. So posted by a person. Influencing, we can also get the number of followers. I would just type in the dynamic content followers and just select the followers count. Okay, so there is a tweet posted by someone influencing the number of followers. And let's, with the sentiment score again, score of, and let's get the score from the dynamic content. Perfect. And I will also display the key phrases. The key phrases extracted from the tweet are, and I will go ahead and get the key phrases from the dynamic content. Perfect. I can also even display the tweet content or text. The tweet text is, and I will get the text from the dynamic content. I can also specify other parameters related to the email itself, like the importance of the email, and I will set it to high importance. Perfect. We're done. I mean, the first part of our logic app is ready. We just need to save it. Okay, to run it. Perfect. Then I will run the trigger, which will initiate all the other actions, all the subsequent actions. I will click on the logic app and click on run trigger, select my trigger. And here, as you can see, you can disable the logic app or enable it. So it is enabled because we want to test it, and I will go ahead and test it. So what I need is to, for example, have a tweet. Whenever there is a tweet with the hashtag Northumbria Uni, I should receive an email. So I would just write a tweet or post a tweet using the hashtag Northumbria Uni. So this is my tweet. I've prepared it before. Eager to learn about AI but still confused about how to do it, we have the solution for you. Northumbria University's Masters in AI provides an exciting opportunity to take your career to the next level. We welcome applications from candidates of any background, and I use the most important keyword, which is the hashtag Northumbria Uni. So I will just tweet it. Okay, your tweet was sent perfectly, perfect. So I will go back to my Logic app. I can click on the Logic App Designer, and by the way, I can edit it. I can change the keywords. I can put a combination of hashtags. I can even specify from whom I want to extract the tweets. I can use a combination or different keywords, and then extract all the tweets related or using mentioning these keywords. Perfect. So I might run it again, and I should receive an email very shortly. Okay, so everything is green. As you can see, this means that everything is going smoothly and going. Everything is all right. Okay. I will click on the Twitter app, which is my Logic app, run the trigger when a new tweet is posted. I'm just waiting for the email to be sent. I believe, yes, I've received an email. So, hi there is a tweet posted by myself influencing 4 followers. Poor me, I have only four followers. And the key phrase is extracted from the tweet, and I received this email at 11:48. And yeah, and those are the key phrases. that I've used in my tweet, and the tweet's text entirely is there. Perfect. We can use something else. We can try another tweet and see if it's working. So again, I will just put something, just a test. Let's say test logic app test, and then I will delete my logic app test, but it should be something positive, right? Excited to test the logic app, and then I can delete it to test the logic app within Microsoft Azure to extract tweets and analyze their sentiments in a few minutes, or just within a few, to analyze their sentiments. To analyze their sentiments. Okay, I think that's fine. Northumbria Uni. I can even change the hashtag Northumbria Uni and hashtag AI. Okay, perfect. And then I will just tweet this tweet. Perfect. I will just verify my email. Okay, not yet. Run the trigger. I don't need to run the trigger every time because my application, my logic app is enabled. I should just receive the email. Not yet. Maybe I have to. Okay, I received it. Perfect. So again, about the logic app, etc. So I will go back to my logic app and add the other part. So the other part is that I want to create a SQL database. So I will create it in the cloud. So I will go ahead and open a new tab open the Azure portal in a new tab. Okay, sign in. And I will create my SQL database. So I will click on SQL database, click on create, and fill out the form. Perfect. So, and the same way, I will select the resource group containing now the logic app, the text analytics cognitive service, and the SQL database. I will give my database a name, Twitter database, and I will create a new server that will contain the database. I will give it a name, Twitter monitoring, such as Twitter monitoring. Perfect. And then I will use an admin name. I will just use my first name, and I will create a password. And confirm the password. Perfect. And I will choose the region as usual, the UK South. And I have my server now. And since we are just dealing with a very simple example, I don't want to consume my credit, and I just want to use a basic database. So I would just select a basic one, and I will just pay about £5 per month. Apply. And for the networking, since I want to access my SQL database from the Logic app, because I will be again creating a connection between my Logic app and the server and the SQL database, I will go for the public endpoint. And yes, I want to allow Azure services and resources to access this server using the current client IP address. I will go ahead and click on review plus create, and then create. Perfect. So we might wait for it. I will just pause the video, or maybe I will go back to the demo, to the workshop, or just the demo, and we can see how we can create a table within SQL. Create a SQL. Look for create table here. So SQL is the language that we use to query databases and tables. So it stands for structured query language, and we can use it to interrogate table and to extract information or update our databases. So here we are creating a SQL database, and we will create a table which is for the tweets in order to store the tweets which are negative, and those tweets have different parameters or attributes. So they have an ID, retweet count, tweet text, tweeted by, created at, etc. So I am using the same name of attributes as in the dynamic content so that I can match them. I can map the values from the dynamic content to the attributes that I have created in my table. So I just copy this script, SQL script, and I will go back to my SQL database, and it is still creating, it is still in progress. Okay, so since I don't want, so this database is meant to store the negative tweets. I don't want to tweet something negative about Northumbria Uni. So I just go ahead and edit my logic app, and instead of Northumbria Uni, I would just use COVID-19 or COVID. Perfect. I will save it. And then here in the condition, if the tweets are positive, we will send an email, a notification email address if the tweets are positive about Northumbria, right? So I can change this. I can just tweet with a sentiment score and save it again. And if it's false, then we need to add an action, and the action will be to create a connection with the SQL server. I'll just click on SQL server, and what I want to do exactly is that I want to insert a new row in the table, in the tweets table, to add this new negative tweet. I'll just click on insert Twitter, and here I have to create a connection again. I will name it SQL connection. And I want to connect to the SQL server. So here I have to provide the SQL server name, the name of the database, my username, and the password. And already my subscription is in there. I'll just see if it is still in progress. Yes. Okay, now that the deployment is complete, I will go ahead and click on Go to Resource. So I can see that here there is my server name, and I will just click on it to create the table. Okay, so I will go back, to the database, and in order to create a table, I have to click on Query Editor so that I can paste the SQL script. So I have first to authenticate to the SQL database, and I will just put my password in here. Perfect, and click on OK. And so here I am in my Twitter database or the SQL database. I can paste the SQL script in here. Perfect. And if I run it, so as you can see, there are no tables in here, but if I run it successfully, I will have a new table. I will just refresh it, and I will have my Twitter table with all of the attributes. Perfect. And I can also run another script. So I want to see if this table contains rows, and obviously I've just created it so it's empty. Select everything from my table, which is Twitter, and run it. So there are no rows in this table. Perfect. So I will go back to my Logic app and create and put the name of the SQL database. So my database is TwitterDB, and I will copy the name of the server from here. I just click on this one, okay, and copy the name of the server and paste it in this form. So here I'm creating the connection between the Logic app and the SQL server. I will hit create. So it's creating perfect. So normally all the information will be automatically loaded. So I will, here I have the name of the server, and I also have the name of the Twitter database, and I will have, it's loading. I should see the name of the table Twitter in a few seconds, and that was the case. Perfect. So now I have to mention the different parameters that I want to insert in the row, the different values and attributes that I want to extract from the tweet that we have extracted, that we have detected, and that we want to insert in our table. So I will select, so those are the attributes from the table that I have just created. So I will just select some of them, and for each one I will map it to its corresponding value from the dynamic content. So I am using the same names to make it easier for everyone to retrieve or find the names. So retweet count, it will be the same. I'll just type it in here, type it in the dynamic content. Retweet count, perfect. Same for the tweet. Text, or I will just put text, which is the keyword. Otherwise, tweet is in all of the attributes. So tweeted by, I would just by, perfect. Created at, I'll just look for created at, perfect. And the tweet ID, I will just put the ID in here, perfect. The ID of the tweet. Click on it again. So tweet ID. Tweet ID. Perfect. So everything is configured, and I only need to save the application, the Logic app, and run it again to see if there are any issues or errors. I will click on the Logic app again, run the trigger, and I should be now receiving positive tweets in my email address, and the negative tweets about COVID-19 will be stored in the table, in the tweets table. Okay. This may take a few minutes. Perform the starting action to view the run, and this may take a few minutes. Okay, perfect. So everything is green, meaning that there are no issues, no errors. And I will again go back to the my trigger and run it again. So perfect. So since there will be many tweets about the COVID-19, I have anyway to, like in a few minutes or seconds, to disable the Logic app to stop receiving emails and storing the negative tweets in the database. I will go back to my database and more specifically to the query editor. And again, I have to sign in. And I will see if there are new rows in my table. and I will click on run and see, yes, we have new tweets that are negative. I can also select the tweet text and run it again to see only or to display only the text of the different tweets. I will go back to see if I received. Yes, I'm receiving a lot of emails, positive emails about. Let's see one of them. Hi there is a tweet posted by education, more influence and 0 followers with a sentiment score of 0.5. The key phrases extracted are, and obviously I would see COVID among the hashtags that are used. So I will go back quickly to my Logic app and disable it so that I can stop receiving emails and also stop storing negative tweets in the database and stop consuming my credit. So thank you very much for watching. So as you can see, we've created a very, a very efficient application that extract tweets from Twitter, analyze the sentiments, extract the key phrases, and also take an action depending on the sentiment score. Thank you very much for watching.